I mortgaged my house for $240,000 to save my sister's life, and she spent it on a BMW, a Miami condo, and vacations to Bali while laughing about how easy it was to fake cancer. The phone call came on a Tuesday in April 2023, while I was grading algebra tests at my kitchen table in Denver. Riley's name lit up my screen, and when I answered, all I heard was crying. Not the dramatic crying you do when you're upset about a breakup or a bad day at work. The kind of crying that comes from somewhere deep and primal. The kind that tells you something fundamental has broken. Michael. Her voice was raw, scraped hollow. I need to tell you something. I set down my red pen, my stomach already dropping. Riley was my little sister, 5 years younger, and we'd been close growing up. 2 kids raising each other after Mom died when I was 16 and Riley was 11. Dad had tried his best, but he was drowning in his own grief, and mostly we'd had each other. What's wrong? I have cancer. The words came out flat like she'd been practicing how to say them. Pancreatic, stage 4. The world tilted. I gripped the edge of the table, knuckles going white. What? When do you find out? Last week. I've been going through tests for months, Michael. The pain, the weight loss, all of it. They finally confirmed it yesterday. She sobbed, the sound tearing through the phone. They're saying 6 months, maybe less. Without treatment, I won't make it to Christmas. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Pancreatic cancer, stage 4, 6 months. My little sister, who was only 38 years old, who was supposed to have decades ahead of her, was dying. What do the doctors say? What are the treatment options? There's an experimental treatment, clinical trial in California. It's aggressive, but it's showing promise for stage 4 cases like mine. The doctor says it could give me years, Michael. Real years, not months. Her voice cracked. But it's $240,000. Insurance won't cover experimental treatments. I've started a GoFundMe. I've been reaching out to everyone I know, but I'm still so far from what I need. $240,000. The number sat in my chest like a stone. I was a middle school math teacher. My wife Sophia was a dental hygienist. We had a modest house, a 10-year-old car, a retirement fund we'd been carefully building. We weren't rich, but Riley was my sister, my only sibling. The person who'd held my hand at Mom's funeral when I was too young to understand that grief could actually kill you. I'll figure it out. I heard myself say, whatever you need, Riley, we'll make it work. Michael, I can't ask you to. You're not asking, I'm telling you. You're going to get that treatment. Over the next 2 weeks, Riley sent me everything. Medical documents with the hospital letterhead, diagnostic reports showing tumors in her pancreas, photos of her at what she said were preliminary appointments. In one photo, she was in a medical gown, looking small and scared. In another, she was sitting in what looked like a chemo chair, an IV in her arm, forcing a brave smile. I showed everything to Sophia that night, spreading the documents across our bed like evidence in a trial. She picked up each one, reading carefully, her face getting paler with every page. Michael, this is a lot of money. She's my sister. I know. I'm not saying we shouldn't help. I'm just saying we need to think about this carefully. What does a second mortgage mean for us? For our retirement? For Lily's college fund? Our daughter was 12, already talking about where she wanted to go to school. What does it matter if Riley's dead? The words came out harsher than I intended. She's 38 years old, Sophia. 38. If there's a chance this treatment could save her, we have to take it. Sophia was quiet for a long moment, staring at the photo of Riley in the chemo chair. Okay, she finally said. But we do this smart. We verify everything. We make sure the money goes directly to the medical facility. We don't just hand her cash. Of course, I'll talk to the doctors myself, make sure we understand the treatment plan. Looking back, I can see how easily she deflected those safety measures. How quickly she had reasons why I couldn't talk to the doctors directly. Patient privacy, they're so busy, it's easier if she coordinates everything. How she insisted the treatment facility needed payment up front, in full, transferred to her account so she could handle the logistics. And I believed her. Because she was my sister. Because the documents looked real. Because I couldn't imagine someone faking cancer. Couldn't conceive of that level of cruelty and deception. I took out the second mortgage in May 2023. $153,000, added to the $87,000 Riley had raised through GoFundMe from friends, family, and strangers who'd been moved by her story. The closing costs ate another chunk. My monthly mortgage payment nearly doubled. But I had the money. I could save my sister. I transferred $240,000 to Riley's account on June 3, 2023. She called me crying, thanking me, calling me her hero. "You saved my life," she said. "I don't know how I'll ever repay you." "Just get better," I told her. "That's all the repayment I need." Treatment started in mid-June, according to Riley. She sent regular updates. Photos of her at the hospital. Always carefully cropped, always showing just enough to seem real. Stories about how the treatment was tough, but she was fighting. Messages thanking me for giving her a chance at life. In July, she posted on Facebook about losing her hair, attached a photo of herself in a beautiful auburn wig. The comments flooded in. Hundreds of people offering prayers, sharing cancer survivor stories, praising her bravery. I commented too. "So proud of you, sis. Keep fighting." By September, she was posting about how the treatment was working. Tumors shrinking, energy coming back. Hope for the first time in months. I watched those updates with tears in my eyes, relief flooding through me so powerfully I felt dizzy. The money, the mortgage, the sacrifice, it was all worth it. Riley was going to live. Sophia and I invited Riley to Denver for Thanksgiving in November. She hadn't visited since before the diagnosis, claiming she was too sick to travel. But now that she was improving, we wanted to celebrate with her. Wanted to see with our own eyes that our sacrifice had mattered. Riley walked through our door on Thanksgiving morning looking radiant. Not sick person in recovery radiant. Not cancer survivor who's been through hell radiant. Just radiant. Healthy. Glowing. Her skin had color. Her eyes were bright. She'd gained weight. Good weight, the kind that comes from regular meals and no stress, not the bloated kind that comes from steroids and medication. And her hair. The wig she was wearing was perfect, professional, but when I hugged her, I felt real hair underneath, not wig cap. "Care. You look amazing," I said, pulling back to look at her. "The treatment really worked." "It's a miracle," Riley said, beaming. "The doctors can't believe it. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer just gone. They're calling me their success story." I felt Sophia tense beside me. She was a dental hygienist, but she worked closely with oncology patients who needed dental clearance before chemo. She knew what cancer treatment looked like. She knew what stage 4 pancreatic cancer survivors looked like. They didn't look like Riley. That night, after Riley had gone to bed in our guest room, Sophia cornered me in the kitchen. "Michael, something's wrong." "What do you mean? She looks great. The treatment worked." "That's the problem. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer doesn't just disappear. The 5-year survival rate is 3%. 3%, Michael. And those survivors don't look like they just came back from a spa vacation." She grabbed my arm, her fingers digging in. "I want to see her medical records, the real ones from her doctors, not the papers she sent you, the actual records." "Sophia, that's invasive." "Michael." She looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Fear mixed with certainty mixed with dread. "I think she's lying." The words hung in the air between us, impossible and obvious at the same time. "That's insane. Who lies about having cancer? Someone who wants $240,000. I felt sick, but I also felt that pull of denial, that desperate need to believe my sister couldn't do something so monstrous. "You're wrong. You have to be wrong." "Then prove it. Ask her for the medical records. If she has nothing to hide, she'll show us." I asked Riley the next morning, trying to keep my voice casual. "Hey, I need copies of your medical records for our insurance company. They want to verify the diagnosis before they'll approve some of the coverage." It was a lie. But Riley's reaction told me everything. Her face went pale. Her eyes darted away. "I don't think I can release those. Patient privacy, you know, HIPAA and all that." "Riley, I'm your brother. I mortgaged my house for your treatment. I think I have a right to see proof it actually worked." "Are you saying you don't believe me?" Her voice turned sharp, defensive. "After everything you've done, after I thanked you." "I'm saying Sophia has some medical concerns, and we want to make sure you're actually in remission. If the treatment worked as well as you say, the records will show that. So let's see them." She refused, made excuses, got angry. And that's when I knew Sophia was right. I hired Derek Wu, a private investigator that afternoon. It cost $5,000 I couldn't afford, added to a credit card that was already strained from the mortgage payments. But I needed to know. Derek called me 5 days later. "Mr. Torres, you need to come to my office, and you should bring your wife." We sat in Derek's cramped office in downtown Denver, surrounded by filing cabinets and the smell of old coffee, while he laid out evidence that destroyed my world. "Riley Torres has never had cancer," Derek said, sliding documents across his desk. "Not pancreatic, not any kind. These are her actual medical records, obtained through proper legal channels. Her last doctor's visit was 2 years ago for a routine physical. Clean bill of health." I stared at the records. Riley's name, no cancer diagnosis, no oncologist visits, no treatment of any kind. But the documents she sent me, Photoshop templates downloaded from the internet. Derek pulled up comparison images on his laptop. "See these headers? They're from a template website. Someone took generic medical document templates and filled in cancer-related information. They're well done, but they're fake. The hospital she claimed to be treated at has no record of her as a patient." Sophia made a sound like she'd been punched. Derek continued, merciless. "The photos she sent you of chemo appointments? I tracked them down. This one," he pointed to the photo of Riley in what I'd thought was a chemo chair, "was taken at a vitamin IV spa in Boulder. She was getting a beauty treatment, not chemotherapy. This one was taken at a wig shop where she was trying on wigs for fun, not because she'd lost her hair." "Where did the money go?" My voice sounded distant, disconnected from my body. Derek pulled out bank statements. I saw the $240,000 deposit, and then I saw where it went. BMW dealership, $67,000. A brand new 3 Series purchased 2 weeks after I sent the money. Real estate closing, $95,000. Down payment on a condo in Miami, purchased in July. Multiple charges to luxury hotels and airlines, $34,000 total. Bali in August, Paris in September. Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus, Tiffany, $28,000 in designer clothes and jewelry. Various casinos and online gambling sites, $16,000. I couldn't breathe. The room spun. Sophia was crying beside me, her hand over her mouth. "There's more," Derek said quietly. "I interviewed Riley's ex-boyfriend, Marcus Chen. They broke up 6 months ago, right before she started this scheme. Marcus said Riley had gambling debts she couldn't pay. He said she joked about how easy it would be to get money by faking sick. He thought she was kidding." I stood up so fast my chair fell backward. "I need to confront her. Mr. Torres, I strongly advise you to go to the police first. I need to confront her." Riley was house-sitting for a friend in Boulder, living in a place twice as nice as my house, while I struggled to make mortgage payments I'd taken out to save her life. I drove there with the evidence Derek had given me, Sophia in the passenger seat, both of us silent with shock and rage. Riley opened the door wearing designer clothes I'd bought with my second mortgage. Behind her I could see new furniture, expensive luggage from her trips, a life of luxury funded by my sacrifice. "Michael, Sophia, what are you?" I threw the papers at her, bank statements, medical records, photos of the wig shop and IV spa. "You lied. About all of it, you never had cancer." Her face went through a series of expressions: shock, panic, calculation. Then she started crying. "Michael, I can explain." "Explain what?" "Explain how you stole $240,000 from me? How you made me mortgage my house? How you made me think you were dying while you were buying a fucking BMW? I was desperate. I had debts. I was drowning. I didn't know what else to do. You could have asked for help. You could have been honest. Instead, you faked cancer. You made me watch you suffer through chemo. You let me think I was saving your life while you were vacationing in Bali." She was sobbing now. Real or fake, I couldn't tell anymore. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll pay you back." "With what money? You already spent it all." I felt Sophia's hand on my arm, trying to pull me away, but I couldn't move. I stared at my sister, this person I'd loved my entire life, and saw a stranger. "There were 234 people who donated to your GoFundMe, Riley. 234 people who believed they were helping a cancer patient. You stole from all of them." "I'll make it right, I swear." "You're going to prison," I said. "I'm pressing charges. For everything." I filed criminal charges the next day. The FBI got involved because the GoFundMe fraud crossed state lines. Donors from 15 different states had contributed, believing Riley's story. Wire fraud became a federal case. The investigation took 6 months. During that time, I had to tell everyone what had happened. Tell my daughter why we were selling her college fund investments to make mortgage payments. Tell my colleagues at school why I suddenly needed extra tutoring gigs on weekends. Tell the 234 GoFundMe donors that the cancer patient they'd helped didn't exist. The trial began in June 2024. The courtroom was packed with Riley's victims. Donors who'd sent $50, $100, $500, thinking they were helping save a life. I sat in the front row every day and watched my sister try to defend the indefensible. The prosecution's case was devastating. They showed the medical records proving Riley had never had cancer. Not one hospital visit, not one oncologist appointment, not one diagnostic test showing tumors. They displayed the Photoshop documents side by side with the original templates, pointing out the amateur editing errors, inconsistent fonts, misaligned text, headers that didn't match real hospital formats. They walked through her bank statements, showing every luxury purchase. The prosecutor held up photos of the BMW, the Miami condo, receipts from the Four Seasons in Bali. This is what $240,000 buys when you're not actually dying of cancer. They called Marcus Chen, Riley's ex-boyfriend, who testified under oath. She said it jokingly at first. I could just fake cancer and start a GoFundMe. People always donate to that. I thought she was kidding. I told her that was sick. She laughed and said sick people get money. His voice cracked. I didn't think she'd actually do it. And then it was my turn to testify. Mr. Torres, the prosecutor said, can you describe the moment you decided to mortgage your house? I looked at Riley. She was staring at the table, wouldn't meet my eyes. I was grading papers. My sister called me, crying, telling me she was dying. She sent me medical documents, photos of her at treatment. I believed her because she's my sister, because I couldn't imagine someone lying about something like that. My voice broke. I thought I was saving her life. I thought the mortgage, the financial strain, all of it would be worth it because Riley would survive. Instead, she bought a BMW. How has this affected your family? My daughter's college fund is gone. We've depleted our retirement savings. My marriage has been under incredible stress. And Riley. I finally looked at her. Riley is dead to me. The sister I thought I knew, the person I would have done anything for, she never existed. She was just a con artist wearing my sister's face. The defense tried to paint Riley as desperate, struggling with mental health issues, not fully understanding the consequences of her actions. But the prosecution had receipts, literally. Receipts from luxury stores, 5-star hotels, designer boutiques. This wasn't desperation. This was greed. The jury convicted Riley on all counts: wire fraud for the GoFundMe scheme, fraud by false pretenses for lying to me, and identity theft for impersonating a cancer patient to obtain money. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. The judge looked at Riley with something close to disgust. Miss Torres, you didn't just steal money. You stole hope. You made 234 people believe they were helping save a life. You made your brother mortgage his house, risk his family's security, for a lie. And you did it without remorse, spending the money on luxuries while your victims struggled to make payments on loans they took out for you. He paused, letting the words sink in. This court sentences you to 5 years in federal prison. You are ordered to pay $327,000 in restitution, $240,000 to your brother, and $87,000 to the defrauded GoFundMe donors. Your assets will be seized and sold to begin restitution payments immediately. 5 years. Riley would be 43 when she got out. I would be 49. An entire chapter of our lives destroyed by her greed and my trust. The BMW sold for $52,000. The Miami condo, which she'd barely lived in, sold for $108,000. Combined with other seized assets, I received approximately $180,000 in restitution over the following year. It paid off most of the second mortgage, but I still lost $60,000 net, plus years of my life to stress and betrayal. The GoFundMe donors received portions of their money back, though many would never see full restitution. I contacted every single one of them personally, apologizing for not catching the fraud sooner, for not protecting them from my sister's scheme. Most were kind, some were angry. All were devastated that their generosity had been exploited. One donor, a cancer survivor named Patricia, sent me a message that I still read when the anger threatens to consume me. I donated $500 because I survived pancreatic cancer. I know how terrible it is. I know how desperate you feel. What your sister did was evil, but you didn't do anything wrong by trying to save her. Don't let her turn your love into shame. I used the experience, the rage, the shame, the desperate need to fix what I couldn't prevent, to co-found Verified Medical GoFundMe with 2 other fraud victims I met through the trial. We created a platform that requires medical provider verification before campaigns can launch. Real doctors verification, real diagnosis confirmation, real treatment plans. In our first year, we verified 2,340 legitimate campaigns and helped them raise over $18 million for actual medical care. We also blocked 187 fraudulent campaigns, 187 Riley Tereses who thought they could exploit people's compassion for profit. In October 2024, I testified before Congress about crowdfunding fraud. The hearing room was intimidating, full of senators and cameras and policy experts. But I told Riley's story, told them about the Photoshop documents, the wig shop photos, the BMW she bought with money people donated to save her life. Current law doesn't require crowdfunding platforms to verify medical claims, I explained. Anyone can post anything, and donors have no way to confirm if it's real. We need federal oversight. We need platforms to verify medical campaigns before they go live. We need to protect people's generosity from predators like my sister. The Crowdfunding Accountability Act passed in March 2025. It required platforms to verify medical claims, mandated refund policies for fraudulent campaigns, and created federal penalties for fake medical fundraising. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. Riley wrote me letters from prison. I burned the first dozen without reading them, but eventually curiosity won. I opened one. Michael, it began. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know what I did was unforgivable. But I need you to know that I think about it every day. About what I did to you, to Sophia, to Lily, about the 234 people who trusted me. I was drowning in debt, and I made a choice, the worst choice anyone could make. I turned my brother's love into a weapon against him. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm just asking you to know that I understand what I destroyed, and I hate myself for it. I read it twice. Then I put it in a drawer with the others. Maybe someday I'd respond. Maybe someday I'd find a way to reconcile who Riley used to be with who she became. But not yet. Sophia asked me once if I regretted trying to help Riley. If you'd known it was fake, would you have been glad you didn't mortgage the house? I thought about it for a long time. No, I finally said, because if it had been real, if she'd actually been dying, I would have done the same thing. The problem wasn't my choice. The problem was her lie. I can live with being the kind of person who'd risk everything to save his sister. I can't live with being the kind of person who wouldn't. Even now? Even after everything? Even now. My daughter Lily, who'd lost her college fund to her aunt's greed, said something that stayed with me. She was 14 by then, old enough to understand what had happened. Dad, you taught me that family means showing up, that you sacrifice for the people you love. Aunt Riley's the one who taught me that some people don't deserve that sacrifice. But I'm glad I learned your lesson first. The Verified Medical GoFundMe platform grew. By 2026, we'd expanded to verify all types of crowdfunding, emergency funds, disaster relief, memorial campaigns. We became the gold standard for legitimate fundraising. Every campaign we verified, every fraud we blocked, every family we protected, it was all an attempt to balance the scales. Some nights I still woke up angry. Angry that I'd been so trusting. Angry that Riley had looked me in the eye and lied for 8 months straight. Angry that my daughter's college fund was gone. But most nights, I woke up determined. Determined to keep building the platform. Determined to keep fighting for the people who donated to fake cancer campaigns because they were good and generous and human. Riley had taught me that evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes it looks like your little sister, calling you crying, asking you to save her life. But I'd taught myself something too. That betrayal doesn't have to break you. It can transform you. It can turn your worst experience into your greatest purpose. And that would have to be enough.